In this series of videos, we're going to take a look at using forms on our web pages. Now, we're not going to do forms fully. We're going to understand the HTML part of forms. Forms always work with some other type of script. They can work with a JavaScript that we might write, and we'll learn how to do that probably in our courses next year. Or they can use something like a PHP script or something that runs on a server in web applications. Today we're just going to learn the basics of making a form in HTML and CSS. So I have Visual Studio Code opened up here. Along the way during this series of forms, we're going to also learn about some shortcuts that you might want to use in Visual Studio Code for making your web pages. So I'm going to go up to File, and I'm going to say New File. And I haven't given a location for the file, but I do have the option of selecting a language. So I'm going to go ahead and pick HTML. I can go through all the different languages that Visual Studio Code knows about. And I'm just going to pick HTML. And then I am going to type exclamation point. And you see something here that says Emmet abbreviation. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make use of this tool called Emmet, and I'm just going to hit the Tab key. And notice what it does for me. It fills out doctype HTML. It gave me my HTML tag. It gave me the head tag and the ending head tag. It set up my character set as UTF-8. It gave me some compatibility meta tags, a viewport meta tag, a blank title with a default setting of document for our title. It gave me my body tag and my closing HTML tag. So that was through a plugin for Visual Studio called Emmet. So let's take a look at what Emmet is. Emmet, you can learn more about it at emmet.io. It's an essential toolkit for web developers, and it basically does a lot of autocomplete things, like automatically filling in tags and showing us the formatting for tags. It's built into Visual Studio. It is a plugin. You can use it in almost any text editor you want. You could use it in Notepad++, I believe, has support for Emmet. But Visual Studio comes with it built in, so we don't have to install the plugin. Normally, if we didn't have a plugin built in, we could click on this plugins tag, and we could go find the extension in the marketplace for Visual Studio, and we could install Emmet, but we don't have to because it just becomes built into Visual Studio. So there's no reason for us to go out and do that. If you want to learn more about Emmet, you can come to their website at emmet.io, and it will go through and you can learn anything you want to learn about what it does. And we're just going to look at a few things that are built in that might save us some time when we're developing websites. And we're going to do that with our forms that we're learning about this week. So I hit the exclamation point and I hit Tab, and it filled out the body of my web page for me. So down in this body, let's try to use Emmet again. I'm just going to type the word form. And notice it gives me some options. It says Emmet abbreviations. Okay. I didn't start typing a tag. I just typed the word form. And it gives me an option of form here, a form with a get, or form with a post. So I'm going to pick form with a post. And notice it shows me this is a form tag. It automatically gives me an attribute called action and an attribute called method. There's only really one other thing that we'd probably ever use in a form tag, and that might be an ID. So let's give it an ID equals I'm going to call it email form. Will be the ID for this on my web page. The action could be something like a JavaScript file. Normally, let's pretend this is a web application, and we're going to say my app. I'm going to use my_app.php. Okay, So this would be a PHP file that when somebody presses the button on our form, it would submit it using the post method to this script on our server that would run some code and regenerate some HTML and send it back to us. Okay. So we have a choice of using post or get. Generally, we're not going to get into a lot of the details of that right now. We will when we do JavaScript, and we might when we do a web application. But you have the choice of get here or post. Post is the most secure. When you do a get method, it uses things in the URL that people can read, and it's clear text. Post is a little bit more secure, so that's the method. So for now, just pick post. I mean, it's not going to hurt to pick get if you want to, and we'll talk about more about those details later. But basically, this is the structure for our form. Form, we can give it an ID if we want. We have to set an action, a script, or something that's going to happen when somebody pushes the submit button on our form, and then the method we want to use to send our data is always post or get. Pick post. So this is our blank form. Not going to do anything else with it in this video. You go ahead and catch up, and then we'll talk about adding some items in the next video.